I remember when I was in preschool and they would hand out these cute little coloring sheets to color in with crayons and colored pencils. And one day I decided, why not make my own? I made a coloring sheet of one of my OCs named Neeb, and I invited 8 of my art YouTuber friends to color it in. The whole point of this challenge is to see everyone's different coloring styles. And there aren't really any rules. They can use whatever colors they want. And if you want to follow along with us, I have attached 2 files to a drive link below. One transparent and one with a white background so you guys can print it out. So grab your crayons and let's color! Sadly, I forgot to record my coloring process, but I still do have my line art process, so I might as well show you guys that. So for this line art, I decided to go for a G pen for my line art, and I did not use a textured line art brush, which was kind of upsetting for me because I love texture. I love so much texture. But I figured since this is a coloring page, I need it to look more smooth and the kind of same style that they use with most coloring pages. So I was like, might as well go with that. But it was so fun drawing this pose. I made sure to have him showing off his Crocs somehow because usually whenever I draw Neeb, he's showing off his awesome Crocs. And I put little planets around him too, if you can tell. So yeah, here's the finished piece and also the colored one. On to the next artist.
Yo, what's good? Orange Hoody Inc here. Orange for short. Sorry for the budget cut. Has been kind of rough for the Orange Hoody Inc channel with the budget of $0. So, you know, we're getting there, but just bear with it for now. Anyways, on to the speed paint. Okay, I started by laying out the flat colors and then tried to figure out the colors for the background objects. That apparently took me way longer than I wanted to, but whatever. I then tried to use the airbrush to give it more like shading and depth, but I still kind of wanted that unrendered flat feel. I asked some friends for advice, and they basically said that the unrendered look looks unrendered. So I went back, added more dramatic shading, added some halftones to make it pop a little bit more, add more texture, and that was it.
A collab that could help me practice my coloring and shading? Sign me up. Hi, it's Sai. Coloring this piece was so fun. I usually render on top of my sketches, so that's what I did with this piece. Though I went ham on the glow, like this is just kind of blinding. I wanted the hair to have like this jelly look to it, but I kind of failed since I felt the need to add strands of hair for no reason, just because of vibes. Added some particles of light for that glow aesthetic, and also to go with like the whole shining space look. I wanted to make the jacket look like a puffer jacket, so I made it shiny. Added rim lighting and some noise, and it was finished. Alright, and that's my piece. It turned out great, and my favorite part is the face mostly. The detail on it is so pretty, so you get to look at a close-up of it too. Thank you, Madrio, for inviting me to this collab. That's all from me. On to the next person.
Heyo, I'm Nova, and I'm turning all my friends' OCs into 0 because they're cool. So, 0 followers and bots usually wear very dark, glitchy clothing while having his face overtop their own on their souls, shirts, necklaces, so I thought it would be fun to see if I can't get that crazy glitch effect to work with a character pose. I was given permission to do this, using 0's color palette for everything, just shades of greens and purples. I cut and shuffled tons of little squares to try and give it a glitch effect, and I think it turned out pretty fun. Wait, do I have to sign this?
As we all know, the perfect art style is a delicate blend of planning and chaos. And that's exactly how we're starting here today. Taking the first 30 minutes or so to lay out different color palettes, the planning, but laying in colors based solely on vibes, the chaos. One of the first palettes I was going for is one I like to call Vague Recollection of Marty McFly. As when I was about halfway through testing this particular palette, I figured I should have looked up a reference of the character, and realized I had gotten the colors completely backwards. I went through a couple more palettes before settling on one I really liked. After properly laying down the flats, I took a near black and brushed in the darkest shadows away from the light source. From there, I filled out the rest of the piece with cell shading, and a little bit of airbrush, but that's not important, and a white rim light around the edges. However, I'd say my favorite part of this process was the orbs around the character. While playing around with different blending modes, I stumbled onto difference, and I really liked what it did with the colors. So I painted them around the edges of the orbs to create this really cool glow effect. Now, for the final step, I could say the vortex pattern was meticulously planned out, but in reality, I just kind of did whatever and liked it enough to include it in the final result. I usually don't know how to end one of these segments, so just look at the pretty picture, I guess.
When Madry asked me to colour something in for her video, I said no. Okay, I guess I didn't then. One thing I didn't want to do was use the colours that were provided for me, because I'm not like the rest. I went on a long, hard Google search and I found this palette. I thought it'd be awesome to see Neve in a more pastel colour scheme, because they're very saturated, so I switched up. I think what I picked was partly influenced by the star patterns that Neve has, which reminded me of Kirby, so I just gravitated towards the palette. I guess this is a colouring video, so if you guys want some advice, use overlay layers. They're like a genuine godsend, they just pull everything together. Okay, on to the next person, Melo. Madry, I'm gonna look really stupid if I'm wrong.
Heyo, I'm Mello, and Madry apparently asked me of all people to do a color collab. So, I guess let's get started. Totally not nervous or anything, totally not my first collab or anything. So when I first saw this piece, I really liked how dynamic the line art is. I really like how the leg is kind of pointing out. And one thing I did notice was how the character is kind of floating in the air. So for this piece, my plan was to make a sky, or almost like a space theme, where this alien like OC is floating in their environment. One last addition that I really enjoyed doing was the little glowy bits at the back and the stars on the pants. If you haven't noticed, I put little eyes on there just for fun. They kind of look like Mario stars. And yeah, that's pretty much my portion of this collab. I don't know what else to say, but subscribe to Ryu, or else.
Hi, I'm Rose, and I do the drawing. I'm so rusty at this holy. So I was planning on coloring in this lovely little line art Maddie gave to us in the usual way that I normally do. For reference, my usual art looks something like this. I now have to explain the series of events that led to my final drawing looking way different than how I usually do it, because there is a reason why it turned out better than usual. But it didn't start out this way. Let's just say that color picking directly off of the reference image wasn't exactly the way to go here. But a couple days after I joined this collab, one of my friends showed me a method of doing the grayscale to color thing, where you completely render out the grayscale first and then color it with a hard light layer. I didn't have any works in progress to try this method on, so I was just itching to try it out. Simultaneously, watching the previously mentioned friend color in one of the drawings with his color jitter brush with like a little bit of hue variation, that inspired me to do a little bit of that myself. Also, I finally downloaded these really cool Ibis paintbrushes I found on Pinterest. This drawing was my first time using them. All of these circumstances combined made me go a little bit cuckoo crazy while rendering this drawing in particular. In a good way, of course. Hope you guys enjoyed. Specifically because it didn't occur to me to make the color palette any different than normal.
Out of all of the art processes, I think coloring is my favorite, so I was really excited to join this collab. Recently, I've been learning a bunch of new techniques, but before that, I have to put down the base colors. I knew I wanted to change them up from the original palette, but I was experimenting for a while. I picked the pastel color palette because more often than not, I'm drawing cute things. Some of these techniques are inspired by one of my favorite artists. Specifically, I took a few pages out of this piece's book. It's why I also changed the base line art color to be a dark blue. I also did a similar background, but no, it's okay. I flipped the pattern and I added more colors. I'm not stealing. Another thing I did was take the shading color. I learned a new technique that's really useful for art studies, so I did that here too. Based on the amount of time I've been recording, I think my time's coming up. Wait, that's not what I meant. So some of the other new things I did was add color jitter literally everywhere. There was also an attempt to do lighting, as I made a little black and white gradient, set it to overlay, and lowered the opacity. I don't know if it looks better or worse, but it's on the final piece. And that's done. Look at this goofy little goober. Blows up Neeb with mine.
Thank you so much to Orange Hoody Inc, Citrix Nova, Kingpin Creations, Shblimby, Melocalyptic, Rosa's Drawings, and Clover for joining this collab. Everyone's drawings are so spectacular, and I love everyone's coloring styles. Anyways, please feel free to go check out their channels linked below, and thank you so much for watching. I did the same exact challenge in my Discord server, and holy cow, you guys are so good at drawing. Oh my gosh, the colors are just so beautiful in these drawings. I mean, you guys are insane. Anyways, once again, please check out my friends. They are so cool, and their drawings are so awesome. I mean, when I saw them send it, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are literally so good at drawing. I felt so intimidated. But yeah, I want to do more challenges like this with some friends and stuff because I genuinely love doing these little collab videos. They are amazing. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next upload next week. Bye bye!